Just play some copyright-free music so I don't get demonetized. All right, we are live. Welcome everybody. Welcome into a special edition of the On Point Podcast, the roundup of Fantasy Critic 2023. We're literally days away, or a day away, I should say, from
cameras on here.
From the new year. So I figured we'd round it out. I'm joined by the usual suspects, Vic, aka Sad Ketchup, and Dan, aka Skelepope, as we will be reviewing our draft picks, and I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. I am actually 4 years I've been winning. 4 fucking years. And now LeBroken has to crown a new champion this year. Congratulations, you piece of shit. Joined at the last second.
Year to year. You can't see it, but trust.
But I just want to go over just this is kind of like just a quick discussion, look at the points. The biggest upset is that Dan, Skelepope and the Fun Dead, LLC, was winning at one point.
Yeah, fucking Redfall, man. And Wanted Dead.
And man,
just two massive shitters.
In
both cases, all they had to release was a playable game.
Yeah.
And they couldn't even... 2 big name studios, and they couldn't even do that.
So...
Oh, that dick. No, wait, what was that? No motion of the ocean.
No motion of the ocean. But yeah, I mean, I will say this has been a very competitive year. This year probably will go down as like one of the best years of video games, hands down. Like almost like a 2013 situation, almost like a 1996 situation where we just had just like banger after banger after banger, and it was just like so incredibly tough to
93.
Yeah, just all the good hits just came out this year without that. So they made this year was actually like a struggle for me. Just because some things I bet on.
Real?
Yeah, the struggle was hella real. But first off, I just want to say thank you guys for, joining me on this fucked up journey of a year's worth of critiquing and double embedding and fucking I just want to go over like some of the highlights of this year. And I'll go one, and then Dan, you go one, and then Vic, you go one, and then we'll just go round robin until we run out of stories to tell as far as like what made this fantasy just so brutal. Just like so fucking brutal. My first disappointment was just betting it all against Hogwarts Legacy. That was probably my hubris, just wanting to hopefully that like it was just gonna be a shitty like I remember when me and Dan worked at GameStop, like we would always see a Harry Potter knockoff game in like the bargain bin. Like a
greatest hits,
like
$10.
Yeah,
all the whatever the crappy licensed Harry Potter game that
shovelware. I think that's
what
they call it, right?
Yeah, shovelware. It was
like,
and so I was hoping that it was like
it was a coin flip. I'll add that.
I was hoping that WB was just looking to cash in on on their licensing, and that all the hate towards J.K. Rowling would just topple this game down to oblivion, which there were some outlets that just kind of, like, rather than giving it a bad score, they just refused to review it, which is probably the more professional way of handling that in that case. But I was still just... It got an 80-fucking-4. I was like, is it that good of a game? And then I looked at some videos, and it's like...
It's Dark Souls for children.
Yeah, it's Dark Souls for children. So, good on
I wish I
them.
could play it. It didn't run on my computer, so
Oh,
I stopped playing.
Really?
After, like, I think I got, like, more than halfway through, and then the game would just, like, stutter so hard.
That sucks.
And then I just couldn't finish it, and then I just lost interest, and I was like, well, it was fun while it lasted.
So, right off the gate, just betting against Harry Potter, I know better now. I know better now to bet against Harry Potter fans. Does that IP is too strong for whatever reason. J.K. Rowling is just rolling in money forever now. Because there's
I mean,
just...
she always was.
But I mean, she's gonna be rolling in money forever, almost. Like, I figure even like one book author would just kind of like be done and just kind of fall out of relevant. Like, unless you're like Stephen King or like J.K. Rowling, well, or I was gonna say George R. Martin, but he's kind of fell off relevancy.
Yeah, because he doesn't finish anything.
Yeah.
He's just like, I guess I'll write a book every few years.
Yeah, okay.
Was Stephen King, was that guy, he's like writing books all the time?
Okay, two things against this. One, when Stephen King started, his publishers did not publish his books when he finished because the accepted tempo was one book a year. That's why he's got a whole shit ton of books from his early writing career under pseudonyms. Because he was writing 3-4 books a year, and his publisher like, no. If we do more than one Stephen King book a year, people are going to get burned out. They're not going to buy them.
Okay.
So it's a fun fact with him, and, he did all that because of cocaine. But two, George R. R. Martin has actually published, 6 books since his last Game of Thrones, mainline novel.
Yeah.
Or Song of Ice and Fire book.
Yeah.
And he helped write Elden Ring.
Yeah.
He's writing, I think after all of the crap that happened with the show, I think he's done with it. I think Song of Ice and Fire is complete, and I just think he's not going to publish the last books until he dies, because he doesn't want to deal with the fans.
I agree. I 100% agree.
Just finish the book.
I think they are finished. I just think he's after watching the last season and all the crap that happened, because he was there. I think that is 100% his plan. And it's all in the books, and it was even in the series, if you paid attention, that she's going crazy.
Yeah.
And is, way down to burninate people. And I think he saw the people's reaction and was like, well, these aren't getting published while I'm alive to deal with
deal with the backlash or the outrage or whatever.
Whoever my heirs are, they can handle it.
Yeah. My trust, whoever.
I'm an old man, I don't got to deal with this crap. He's gonna go write some prequels.
So we are missing one person, but they pretty much kind of noped out of the league this year. We kind of reminded him during the whole summer game fest thing, so when are you gonna start picking games? And he never got around to
my freaking Jedi Survivor.
Dude, he
and my Armored Core 6.
Stole my Armored Core. Hey, game of the year. Actually, game of the year.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Everybody can say anything else they want. Baldur's Gate 3 100% deserves Game of the Year.
It does.
Oh, yeah.
It does.
Completely revitalized a genre that people have written off as dead. For 30 years.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I hate to admit it, but yeah. Let that game here's the problem.
We know you hate to admit it.
We know how much you hate to say anything nice about D&D.
Oh, it's so fucking... God, why did it have to be in Faerun?
I do wish they just done fucking Ravenloft.
Anywhere else would have been so much better. But I guess
They might get an X-Pack going now. They might get Baldur's Gate 3 fucking...
God, no. Have you seen what's happened at Hasbro and Wizard of the Coast? They fired like 1,000 people.
Yeah, but Larian has nothing to do with them.
Yeah, but like the
So-
people who helped write or who helped with Baldur's Gate got let go.
Yeah, but they'll just hand the license to Larian, and Larian will hire those people. Because Larian has ridiculous money, and they are an independent. They're an independent studio. Not to call them an indie studio, because that brings up the mindset of like, small, low number of workers, and
versus independent.
Larian's been at it for a long time, and they have a pretty sizable crew, and now they've got a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they're going to get bigger, and they're going to stay with it. So Larian is a strong. They're like Interplay. They're an independent company in the vein of like the '90s gaming companies. Before, between when EA bought everybody out in the early 90s and when EA bought everybody out at the end of the 90s, they're those strong independent gaming companies that came between EA being the monster of the video game industry. And I expect to see more great things from them in this vein. I'm always worried when they get this kind of money that they're going to branch out and do things poorly and then go back down to being a smaller independent studio. But I expect at least some serious DLCs.
Or worse, they get bought out by an EA, like what happened to BioWare.
Well, and I don't think Larian is
talk about that.
Interested in
or
being
George
bought
Lucas
out.
being bought out by Disney.
I think if Larian was interested in being bought out, they'd have gone to Microsoft in the Microsoft buying like Obsidian and In Exile era when Microsoft was actively pursuing Western RPG developers.
Yeah.
I think Larian would have gone to Microsoft and pitched a buyout then if they were interested in being bought out by anybody.
Yeah, it's always in the back of people's heads, right? I mean, CD Projekt Red was an independent game studio, and then they didn't get bought out, but like they took like a big share of like the government of Poland took like an investment in them, and that's why they became bigger, and that's when they started tackling. That's why they bought the rights to do Cyberpunk. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if this power goes to Larian's head or if it just makes him stronger. I hope it makes him stronger. I hope it's like from here on out, the best tabletop simulator is their game, so it can only get better from here on out.
Yeah.
I imagine they might release some like tools for like build your own campaign, because that's what they did with the Divinity Original Sin.
I don't think they will, because I think they would have to negotiate that with Hasbro. And as Para said, Hasbro, their current executive, kind of realized that in fact, almost all of their actual income is coming from basically Magic and Dungeons and Dragons, and has done a lot of moves to both gain greater control over those lines and to increase monetization of them. So I don't think we'll see a full mod kit like we did for Divinity, even though Larian probably would like to do one. I don't think we'll see Hasbro allowing the D&D license to have a full mod kit, especially since they have dealings where like the books and stuff are already available in other tools like Digital Foundry and Roll20,
and they're even their own D&D Beyond.
And we're supposed to get a new one over the summer, right?
Yeah,
it's got a more robust online toolkit, supposedly. When they do the 5.5 release or whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't they already kind of do that?
Yes. So Tasha's Cauldron of Everything errated a bunch of stuff and redid a bunch of stuff and changed up a bunch of the like alternate paths, the heroic paths or whatever. But they're doing like base rule refreshes.
Because I was looking at some of the things and it was calling stuff like I don't know. Usually, like I guess legacy would be the best term for now, but like it just put like an asterisk with like legacy content, and I'm like, what? Like legacy? Does that mean this shit's got updated? Like what the fuck? And then that's why when I started reading about like that Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, I was like, oh, is this like a patch notes? What is this?
Well, no, it's basically 5.5. It's hey, we're taking out racial abilities. We're taking out like racial. The only thing that like you can fully customize your whole race
So
except
Tasha's didn't take them out. They made them optional.
yeah.
5.5 is apparently removing them and making it all feet. Background feats. They're bringing in more background stuff.
Yeah.
That you take at character creation. So like, if you play a drow, first off, stats are going to be like they are in Baldur's Gate, where you just +2 to one, +1 to another, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to have background feats that cover like, so you could be like raised with elves and you'll get nature and whatever that crap is, or raised by wolves as your background, and that will determine your skills and that kind of stuff. And then I don't know what they're going to do with old school racials, like dark vision.
Yeah. Well,
size changes, but
yeah.
Yeah.
They're completely copying Iron Kingdom. They're totally ripping them off.
100% they're stealing power attribute stuff from Iron Kingdoms. 100%.
So, once again,
quite a tangent.
Really
Anyways, yeah, Baldur's Gate 3.
Nailed it.
Shit.
nailed
Yeah,
it.
Who had Baldur's Gate 3? Oh, none of us, because we couldn't, because it already had reviews at the start of the year in early access.
Yep.
Because it was EA. EA.
Same reason I didn't have Against the Storm.
So let's focus on your what was their biggest upset this year, Dan, as far as your roster.
So my biggest upset obviously is fucking Redfall. Coming from Arcane,
Yeah.
doing a co-op in the middle of summer when everybody is off school and taking vacations and ready to sit down and play some games with their friends. It had vampires, which are totally in this year. It had like small town getting destroyed, feel Stranger Thing vibes, and all it had to do was be playable. -11. Guess what it wasn't?
Playable. Man, that's such a it hurts. And the fact that they just announced that they're doing Blade is like
different. Okay, different part though. So this was Arcane Montreal, which are the ones who did not do Dishonored. They did the other Arcane games. So the Blade crew, I believe, are the ones who did Dishonored, which is honestly close enough to Blade that I still have a little bit of hope. Also, Blade is going to be a more traditional single player, Arcane type game.
Mm-hmm. I just am
shocked. Is the one that did the other one, yeah.
Oh, just as a quick aside, real quick, if we're gonna pour anything out, we gotta pour one out for Bobby Kotick. Today's his last day as Activision.
I'm pouring one out for Bobby Kotick. If I'm gonna pour anything out for Bobby Kotick, it's gonna be lantern oil at the freaking bonfire I light in front of his house. Dude allows sexual harassment to run so rampant in his company that girl commits suicide and walks away with a golden parachute. Fuck that guy.
Well, and just years of just meddling in games
years of being like a bad guy that makes EA look cool.
Yeah.
It's like, man, what happened to EA that destroyed Psygnosis and the Magic Carpet, Bullfrog, and all the cool devs from the early 90s, Wing Commander? What happened to that EA? Can we get that back? Can that be the biggest evil in gaming again? Just guys that don't know how to like push out a game system.
I don't know. We lost a lot of things under Bobby Kotick's just so weird. Anyways,
you don't like Overwatch, bro?
Oh man, I somebody just breaking my silence. Fun fact: when we were planning Overwatch 2 stream launch, my team warned months in advance that we were going to be review bombed. We begged him for more information, more detail, and more resources to help us with the anticipated influx. All flatly denied.
Wait, what happened?
Oh, just a lot of people are just coming out saying that Bobby Kotick. Well, I mean, and it's like the biggest open secret that he's not a video game guy. He's a money guy. But he was just like completely, sexual allegations at Activision Blizzard, sweeping under the rug.
He's an old money, old boys club executive. He knows nothing about what he produces. He just looks at money trails and figures and what will sell.
Yeah.
So he knows video games don't have to be good to make money. So he doesn't care if the game is good. He doesn't care if the studio is healthy. Right?
Yeah.
That's why so many places have died under the Activision label. Because he doesn't have to care.
Yeah, everybody's just coming forward and just being like, this guy did some fucking heinous shit. And it's just like, why didn't you do that while he... Oh, yeah, because you wanted to keep your job. Yeah, in my first month, it came out, he threatened to have an employee killed. And in all hands that followed, nobody wanted to speak first. So I demanded he has firing in front of everyone.
Yeah, didn't they ask him to like resign?
Well, no. No, what happened was, so Phil Spencer decided to keep him on board to finish out his term when the buyout got passed through. Everybody,
so they don't have to give him a "we fired you" parachute.
Yeah, but instead
it cost Bobby Kotick money by letting him write it out to January.
Yeah. So it was basically just a way to keep people from like losing their shit when he like, because if he would have got fired, he would have got more money. But anyways,
early termination fee.
No, because he just gets a buyout. He gets stock options. He gets everything. It's what's like totally wrong with our society with the, this whole fucking, CEOs making more money than, producers. It's like, what do they produce? What do they make? They make nothing. So, I don't know. Regardless, Redfall sucked. That sucked. That sucked a lot.
Oh, yeah, if we want to talk Bobby Kotick, we can always talk about game franchises he specifically had a hand in ruining.
I mean, Tony Hawk,
Mech Warrior, Guitar Hero, Rock Band,
yeah.
All the games that he's like, no, you have to have one a year. Wing Commander,
Call of Duty. I mean,
Call of Duty for sure.
Yeah.
We need 2 a year, so let's get other studios to work on this game.
Yeah.
Mind you, we're not going to give you any time to update the engine, so the same game-breaking bugs in multiplayer that people abuse and exploits will still be there 5 games later.
Yeah. They just look prettier. So, Vic, what was your shining disappointment in this roster this year?
I don't know. I'd say Payday.
Payday?
Just because it was like, damn, bro. Like, what happened? It's kind of like Redfall. Like, dude, what the fuck happened?
I think
they
were
already made 2 of them.
I think
they were fine.
I think they were under a lot of pressure to kind of succeed the first time around. And then they just didn't know how to innovate. It didn't really add anything that Payday 2 already had. It just kind of felt like the same game.
Cause wasn't it like full of bugs and shit?
Yeah. And Embracer Group, the group that bought them was...
Which is the other half of what happened.
Yeah, basically went on a huge, like, they bought all these companies, and guess what? Now they're starting to feel the backlash of buying all these companies now. And so now the Embracer Group bought all these companies and now are closing down the studios rather than letting them go, because they can write it off if they just close them down. So it's just one of the terrible things that happened during the, just tech companies are so stupid. Everybody who runs tech companies are like, big number, go big. And it's like, well, Big Number went big because it was a pandemic and everybody was inside doing things online constantly. Do you expect it to happen again? Yes, of course we expect it to happen. We expect all these people who were shut in for 2.5 years to just stay online, right? 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 Right?
Yeah, sure.
So it's just such a dumb thing for them to, like, that's what they had to work with. And then what's it called? The Payday developer got arrested. Something happened at Payday. I just remember something happened. Payday arrest.
God damn it. Hello?
Yo, devs.
I burned the fucking beans.
Again?
Dude, I was like, it felt like someone's burning bread.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then, like, after a while, I was like, oh no! And then I went, and luckily I had the fire on like the lowest fucking setting, so it only like slightly burned, but it still stinks.
So this happened in 2018, but Seabreeze, their offices got raided by the Swedish authorities, which really kind of put a damper on their development cycle. And basically the person in question was arrested for insider trading, which caused the studio to basically kind of reconstruct their whole game plan, which is probably what happened. I mean, 2018 you get arrested, or the studio kind of goes through this whole, reconstruction, and then bam, pandemic. So I think that's kind of why Payday was in the state that it was in. So it sucks. So let's just go over. I want to go over Dan's list first. Was there anything that you felt?
Oh, I thought we were gonna one at a time this year.
What?
Like, well,
I thought we were gonna like go through our disappointments.
Oh, do you have more disappointments?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so I'll have one more disappointment. Well, we'll go through our disappointments until.
Yeah,
Okay.
back around you. We'll go
Okay.
through until we're done with stuff we found disappointing.
Okay. I'm not okay. It is. Okay. I thought Sonic Superstars would score higher because it looked like such a fun ass game. Because essentially, Super Mario Brother Wonders is essentially the same game, and that scored a 22. But Sonic Superstar only scored a 4. So what is the difference between those two games? They're essentially
Sonic.
Yeah, it has to be just because it's Sonic.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah,
I don't know. Sonic always, yeah.
So the Sonic reviews basically say, I wanted classic Sonic. Not this new shit. Whereas Super Mario Brothers Wonder reviews say, oh man, they added so much cool new stuff.
I guess.
And that's, I think, the end is just the people who reviewed it. They all wanted 2D Sonic, not 3D Sonic. And then, what's Wonder, like 2.5?
Yeah, it's like a 2.
They're both like 2.5, right?
Yeah, they're both side-scrolling, multiplayer, games. So that's my. It's not even like a major disappointment. I'm just a little confused. Obviously, I know a little bit more about Mario Wonder because the Mario Wonder team was basically asked, hey, do you want to make a 3D Mario, or do you want to have like an off year where you make like a fun Mario? And this was like brand new blood. Like they were like, this is a brand new team working on a Mario game. Do we throw them in the deep end and force them to make a 3D Mario game? Or do we have them kind of get their feet wet and make a new Mario game that's a little bit easier? And so that's what they went with, was a more calm, more soothing, crazy art style, psychedelic trip with Mario Wonder, but not necessarily like backbreaking, destroy their like souls, creating like the next 3D Mario game that needs to be better than the last 3D Mario game, which was Odyssey, which Odyssey was fucking crazy good. So it's like, how do you, and then there'll always be people's like, it's got to top Sunshine or it's got to top 64. So I'm glad that they kind of got their feet wet and did this like smaller Mario game that was very successful apparently. But yeah, it's like, why didn't that same sort of mentality fall onto Sonic Superstars, which was like the same idea, the same aspect.
Grognards, man, grognards.
So, I do have another. I mean, I don't want to talk about it in my next round of griping because it really is. It's like not even like a major gripe to gripe about, but there's just. No, I'll talk about it on my next turn. So Dan, you're next.
So my next big disappointment is from your list, actually.
My list.
Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 didn't come out.
Yeah.
All I needed was for it to drop and be a 72.
Well,
for review, and
well,
I'd be in the lead. I'm just saying.
Well,
but also I was really looking forward to
that story.
I felt like that was going to be because I got Rogue Trader, which is a lot of fun, but it's like a really dark, it's a Rogue Trader RPG. It's very 40k-ish. I wanted something that was more Gibby and kind of explored the fun side of Space Marine 2, because the other 40k game this year, the 40k Vermintide, Darktide, was just not
a fun experience.
I think it dropped last year, but it just was. I think it started last November, and it was they patched it. It's supposed to be great and amazing, and it's just not. It's just not the run around and crush things experience I want.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that because in Space Marine 1, I mean, it's like almost a decade ago.
Yeah.
But it was such a fun game.
It was good. I love it. Some days I dream about it. I think about it like, oh my god, that was such a good game.
God, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
2011. It was, and I was really looking forward to another one, and it didn't come out. So I was very disappointed.
But it's coming out this year, or next year.
Because Vic counterpicked it, and that counterpick might have,
Waited.
Did my score there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For my own list, I really feel like Curse of the Sea Rats deserved a much higher score than it got. I know a big part of it was that there were a lot of bugs in the copy they gave out to reviewers in the review copy. There was a 0-day patch that fixed all of it or almost all of it. I had a lot of fun with it. I know a lot of people say it's too hard single player and multiplayer trivializes difficulty, but it's kind of like Halo. And Halo's never got knocked for that.
Apparently Halo's living its best life right now.
Yeah. I said Halo has never been knocked for this game's really hard until you co-op, and then it's really not. Which, that's cool. It's different difficulty levels, different playstyles. I really enjoyed it. I think it was a very good Metroidvania. It had 4 different characters, each with they all felt unique and had their own strengths and weaknesses. It did a lot, I think, for what could be an improvement on the Metroidvania style. It did co-op in a Metroidvania, which was a great experience. And I can play with my nieces, because you don't have to be good at the game when there's 4 of you.
Yeah.
You can be a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, and an 11-year-old with me and just cruise through it. It was a really fun experience. I really felt like, just for all of the new stuff you don't see anywhere else, it really deserved a lot higher than a 66 and that negative 4-point score. Plus, it was all hand-drawn, excellent art, really stylish game. I don't know. I feel like reviewers were unfair to that, in large part because it wasn't Hades. I think everybody's looking for their
Well, there's
Hades and Metroidvania, but that's what they want from indie games, and it's like
a game I
Hades
recently
is so
saw that
fun.
was like a total. It's like a Diablo Hades clone. What is it called? Let me look at it real quick. I know I saw it the other like die again die.
Oh, yeah.
I saw it the other day. One of my favorite streamers was playing it, and I was like, "Well, goddamn, that looks straight up like a ripoff of Hades, except it has like some Diablo-esque qualities to it too." Where is it? I gotta find. If I can find it, where the hell is it? But, anyways, I'll find it right now. But Vic, what about you? What was your crowning disappointment as we continue along the disappointment train on your list or anybody else's list?
Nothing really, other than like Sons of the Forest coming out, releasing. Because I'm pretty. What is the score right now? Is there even a score yet?
There shouldn't be. 'cause it's
Oh,
early access.
Death Must Die. That's the name of the game.
Oh yeah. I've seen that one.
It's like a total rip-off Hades.
Look it up. Death Must Die. Oh wow, this does look like.
With the Diablo gear system
Yeah, like with the Diablo gear system.
and class system instead
Yeah.
of the different weapons. But
Yeah.
Little vampire survivors type stuff, maybe.
Yeah, it's like a mixed bag of nuts. It's like all of that.
Yeah.
But I
Did
felt
Yeah, there's the boss in the video.
yeah.
Oh yeah, and the random power selection. Yeah, it is. But it's definitely got the vampire survivors for its zones, giant waves of enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no, I can definitely. Yeah, God, the art style is 100% a Hades ripoff.
Yeah.
Like for the other gods when they show up,
Mm-hmm.
and they all want death to die. Like that seems kind of silly. Yeah. No, I definitely is not a original thought in its.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's what a lot of these critics want from indie games. They don't want like people to try new stuff unless it's gonna come out and just be like fully developed. Like
yeah.
they're like every game needs to either just have all the mechanics from everything else, or it needs to be like Hades, where it's just you look at it and go, how did an independent studio of how did a small number of people make this game? I'm like, I don't mind games that feel like they were made by 6 people, as long as they're, fun and do what they set out to do.
Mm-hmm. So dude, so is like Son of the Forest, in your opinion, it's like a done deal because of just the way, like that game, even if it comes out next year, we're not gonna get really a score for it, right? Because it's gonna fall into the same category as
Only if it's been scored already. If
Well,
nobody's scored it, you'll be able to pick it next year. The problem with Against the Storm, I think the horror game too, the like one that was designed to like an Amiga game.
mm-hmm.
And then there were a couple of early access games that had been out long enough to get review scores. Those ones you can't pick. I'm gonna run to the bathroom really quick.
Okay.
It's already got 3 in the game or whatever, 3 scores. Fuck, my room smells like shit. Another one that was kind of disappointing after like God knows how fucking long was Dead Island 2.
Was that on your list?
Yeah, I picked it.
Yeah.
People are like it's alright.
My brother
And I'm
played
like-
it. I bought it for him for Christmas, or not for Christmas, for his birthday, and he was like, "Yeah, it's just kind of more of the same thing. Nothing to kind of like, cry home about. Nothing too crazy." And I was like, that kind of, I mean, for this game was like highly anticipated for a long time. That Dead Island 2 trailer like that released like 10 years ago, people were just going nuts over it.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh my god!"
Announced in 2014.
Yeah, like that was. And then like the Goat Simulator 4, kind of mocked the trailer, and everybody thought it was like a Dead Island 2 trailer. I was like, oh my god, they're doing it. And it was like, oh no, it's Goat Simulator 4.
Ah. That's funny.
So
Yeah, there's not a lot of disappointing.
yeah, I guess what this is like my final, like, I guess my major complaint. And I used a little bit of my commissioner powers to kind of finagle things, because for some reason things weren't working. Like, I would try to drop a game that I knew I could drop because I read the rules, but it wouldn't let me to drop. So I just forced it to drop, and I could pick up another game. But I had so many games on my list that were not releasing. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
like,
our fourth man didn't have his games. More than half.
yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 4 out of his 9 don't release this year.
Yeah. So like, but I had almost the same amount of games that weren't gonna release. I had Mini the Hollower, I had Plucky Squire, I had Rebirth. Rebirth, I knew I was taking a chance on. I fucking knew I was taking a chance on Rebirth not coming out. But I was like, if it comes out like in winter, then I'm gonna make bad points for it. But you know, it's you know, it was just like a toss up. But like,
Wait, why didn't Hades 2 didn't come out?
Yeah, Hades 2 didn't, and Hades 2 was supposed to come out this year's early access.
Hollow Knight didn't come out.
Wolf Among Us 2 didn't, but that's because the author of Fable, the comic book it's based on,
Yeah.
threw a giant monkey wrench into the works because he didn't like the story they were doing, and he sued them to try to get them to not make it, and he lost, so he released the rights to Fable to public access.
Yeah.
So anybody can do a Fable game or a movie or whatever, and he did it because BC, which are the people who negotiated The Wolf Among Us and the story with their name, the company. Anyway, he says they're not taking care of his property properly, so he's just giving it to the fans.
Yeah.
To lower its value so it won't be corrupted by these big corporations.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, maybe the most
But like the studio
stick to the guns I've ever seen an artist do. It's like,
but the Wolf,
fuck your money.
the studio that made the original Wolf Among Us, it's dead. It's a hollow shell of its former. Telltale Games is not the same studio. It's this studio in Malibu now. It was some rich guy just owns Telltale Games, and he was like, oh, I'm gonna restart Telltale, but it's not the same people who worked in the Bay Area. Like everybody should go check out the Telltale documentary by NoClip, because it's really fucking sad what happened to that studio. And then like the fact that like it's still around technically, but it's like it's not even like nobody from the original Telltale is even part of that Telltale.
Telltale.
I
I feel like you said it so many times.
Yeah. Like I said, I had so many games that did not release this year, and that's what like fucked me this year as far as points wise. I had 7 games on my list that were not releasing. I had to drop Kerbal. I dropped Kerbal. I dropped Mina the Hollower. I knew I couldn't drop Final Fantasy because I got counterpicked on that. I couldn't drop Warhammer because I got counterpicked on it. I couldn't counterpick Chernobyl or Stalker 2 because I got counterpicked. Like, there was so many games. I was basically just five games in the hole going into this league, and it sucks.
Yeah, you picked Starfield and Hogwarts to counter.
Yeah, your counter pick choices were
Well, okay,
I
so
think we even said Starfield was like a nah. People
No,
are gonna like it.
so Starfield,
It's not a great game.
it's not a
by
great
any-
game, but it's
No,
not the best.
Starfield is a great game. It's just
You got to play it 23 times.
10. It's 10. The issue with Starfield is it's too big. It's kind of like No Man's Sky at launch. There's too much empty space to the game.
Yeah.
So it's like there's so many places with just nothing, and yet there are so many stories on far out planets with no entry quests. So the game wants you to go out to all these empty ass places and just look around and see if there's anybody there. And then once you discover the secret bad guys,
Ooh.
it wants you to go do it all over again because their secret outposts populate after they're found.
Yeah.
So it's like, fuck, dude. And then they want me to, beat it 10 times to unlock all the powers and get everything to max level.
Yeah. It just feels
And
like,
it's like-
such a Todd Howard-esque Todd.
The thing is, okay, the thing about Starfield is you don't have to do any of that. You can experience all of the story in a single playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they have the, like, replayability upgraded powers was because they want this to be like Skyrim, where you can just keep playing the same character forever and still feel like you are advancing.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that works in Skyrim because you just hit a point where it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
In this game, all the people who are used to getting the ability to do everything like in Elder Scrolls are going to feel obligated to rush the powers, beat the game 10 times so they can max that stuff out. And then for them, the game stops being this exploration adventure simulator and becomes a chore.
Yeah.
Which I think defeats the feeling they want, shoots it in the foot. But it's I'm trying to remember who said it. It's not I don't think it's a video game developer. I think it's an RPG developer who said players will optimize all of the fun out of their games if you let them.
I heard that one. Yeah.
And it's just that's what happens. They want all the power, so they'll do the most obnoxious, boring ass stuff. Even if they hate doing it and hate it, and then hate what it feels like to play the game after they've done it,
Yeah.
they'll do it all anyway, and if they have to start over, they'll do it again.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's wild. It's wild. Starfield's a lot of fun. It really is, and it has really cool storylines. It never felt like Skyrim, where it's like, choose between the Nazis or the secret Nazis. You know, like the whole Empire, Nords. Like,
Yeah.
Like, I get they wanted the whole in a civil war, everybody's fucked up, but like, come on.
Yeah.
So it never has any of that stuff in Skyrim where it's like everything sucks. Deal. There's no good or there's a lot more. Rather than all options suck, there's a lot more like multiple good options or finding your own neutral ground stuff, and that was really cool. There's a lot of really cool stuff in there, and it has a lot of really cool lore about how it all works. But once again, I think where they shot themselves in the foot was they designed it so that you could keep replaying it and get new stuff for replaying it, because that's how their New Game Plus effectively works.
Yeah.
But in doing so, they made a whole bunch of players feel like you have to run straight to New Game Plus 10, or you're not getting the real experience of the game. And it's like, it's not there for that. It's there so you can play 600 hours like people do in Skyrim.
Yeah.
Well, that and it was buggy too, and then they're like, "Well, modders will fix it."
Modders will
Right.
fix it.
Well, that's every Bethesda game, though. I feel like people have lost the right to complain about that if they haven't been complaining about it since Daggerfall. Fuck you, Todd Howard. The original, actually not beatable at launch.
So yeah, that was my biggest gripe. Like that's actually, it's a small gripe, but it was actually my biggest gripe. I don't feel any shame about picking what I picked.
should.
I just hated the fact that half the games I picked did not come out this year.
Yeah.
That's what pissed me off. Is that I was like, fuck, I cannot believe this
But you said it
is.
was the best year ever, dude.
No, but I mean, yeah, that's
Lying?
like, but the best year of games is split between 5 people.
Starting on.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the problem, is that there's 5 of us, or there's 4 of us, and the best, there's a best list between all 4 of us, for sure. But like it was just, I mean, technically, you know, Will stole Armor Core, Jedi, Hogwarts.
He stole Armor Core from me. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was
Like that's 3 games right there that like either one of us could have picked up and easily could have won.
Yeah, I was gonna have Star Wars. I was gonna do Hogwarts.
Yeah. So
Hades 2 might have gotten picked by one of us too. So Thirsty Suitors though, the one sub 80 game he's got was all him.
yeah.
He had some bad counter picks too. If we're talking bad counter picks, man. Diablo 4.
Oh, that I actually was like, well, okay, so to be fair,
Diablo Immortals was trash.
no. Diablo has fallen off really hard. Like,
Yes.
like it is. If I go to Twitch right now
Well,
and just
so here's the thing about Diablo though. It's like I think I even said this when he counterpicked it. I'm like, the thing about Diablo is it'll be fun. It'll be insane amounts of fun for 20 to 30 hours, which means reviewers never get to the end game. They don't experience the grind before the review's out.
yeah,
And real Diablo play is made or broken by its grind, and the grind in Diablo 4 is fucking garbage.
Diablo 4's highest viewer count right now is 122.
Oh.
That
And it's because the season ended, or is about to end, and new season starts next month. But I like that their season stuff actually has new story stuff. That's cool, but I have to rank a brand new character max level every time, and you haven't done anything to make that take less than 40 fucking hours. And it's like, I don't want to put in 40 hours every 3 months just to get to play most of the new content, just to see the new dungeons. I will say though, I'm not upset with my purchase of Diablo, because it is a 30 to 40 hour main campaign, and that main campaign is, I think, the best campaign Diablo's ever put out.
mm-hmm.
The story mode is really good. I mean, at the very end, there's a lot of illogical shit that's just setting up the sequels and DLCs, and that irks me. But the actual campaign is phenomenal. Credit
So
where credit's due.
the peak viewership was almost 1 million back in May, right?
Yeah, when it launched.
When it launched, its average viewership.
That might not even be when it launched. That might be when it was doing the
Yeah, so the peak.
the second beta.
Yeah, the peak was in July. That's when it got
Okay,
released.
that's when it launched.
Yeah. But you know, from almost 1 million now to 1,000.
Yeah.
That's a fucking massive drop off.
It's because, well, a big part of what killed it is the first season was absolute garbage. It wasn't fun to play. The new stuff was not worth making a whole new character. They didn't do anything to speed up experience at all.
Yeah.
So it was another 40-hour investment just to level a character to max, and you ran through the same story quests to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Because you didn't even open up the first season quest until you were level 20 or something, so you're halfway. It was so bad, so badly done. The second season was a lot better, added new cool stuff, but streamers didn't go back, because how are you going to attract viewers when nobody cares?
Yeah.
It's lost its streaming audience for sure. Until they drop a DLC. If
Until
they
they
can take what they learned from the current, because the current season was actually kind of cool. A bunch of vampire stuff. You got new abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So that are universal vampire stuff. So that was pretty cool. I'm not going to knock them on this one. The first one was just unique gems, which was kind of boring. because it just played into shit that was already there. Same builds were still the top end builds, other than the stuff they nerfed. Which I think the other thing that killed it is they nerfed all of the good builds. They did not buff much. It was all nerfs into the first season, and they didn't increase XP gains, so it still took forever. So people were watching shit they'd already seen.
Got it.
Only now it was taking twice as longer. It was so poorly done. The new one was a lot better.
I think people are looking forward to what's it called? Path of Exile 2.
Yeah, but that's it's the beta though. It's a beta before release though.
I mean, yeah, but like over time, I guess you could say, people are like, man, I wish there was an alternative to Diablo that I could play.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, check this game out. They're doing all cool shit.
There have always been alternatives. You had Torchlight, you had the Roman one. Like
exactly.
the people who play those games forever like that are obsessive. And that's the problem. That's why nobody challenges Diablo's dominance in the long run, and why it's so hard for Diablo to even challenge the previous game's dominance.
Yeah.
Because they have to suddenly have as much content as all the years they did Diablo 3. And like Diablo 3 didn't take off till its expansion and second set of seasons started in the second expansion. Like there's in the expansion. It took that game forever to really take off. Because they're not they're competing with it's like MMOs with Warcraft, right?
Yeah.
When you drop a brand new MMO, you have to have enough content to keep people engaged long enough to pull them away from World of Warcraft. Because that game has like 2 decades almost of development now. When did that game come out? Was it 05? Was it after that? Like, you're facing so much content for people to play through.
Yeah.
That it's so hard to shake it. Like, 2004 was its launch date. So yes, we're at 19 years of crap for that game. And just competing with that's hard, and Diablo's the same thing. You gotta and switching over means giving up all their stuff, which I hear in Path of Exile 2, you'll be able to transfer stuff. Although part of it is the first one's a freemium, so a lot of the stuff you can transfer was stuff you bought with money. But that will help immensely in the fight against Diablo dominance if all of your old players can keep their guilds and all their fancy shit.
Yeah.
That they already have. For the secondary building society stuff that's a part of Path of Exile. I'm not really into the game, so I don't know exactly what all is there. I know they have like a fancy, you get your own guild hall and stuff like that, and all that stuff's built up with real money. And apparently, from what I understand, people will be able to transfer that. So that's cool.
I mean, I hope so. Because then people won't want to transfer. They're like, well, why? I got all this cool premium shit.
And that's what I was saying. That's the problem with going like new Diablo is you want people to play, especially since they continue to run Diablo 3 seasons. And like concurrently with the Diablo 4 season. So it's like, yeah, but I've got 8,000 things. I think the seasonal character idea, by the way, is bad. Making me make a whole ass new character to play your season is bad. Making me level a whole ass new character to play your season is bad. That's making me waste a shit ton of time. And dropping that from Diablo 3 was a brilliant idea, and bringing it back to Diablo 4 is dog shit. But they do it because, once again, part of it is Twitch, right? If people are fighting over views, they need to max level fast as possible, so your Twitch streamers will pick up XP packs and all the other nonsense crap. And hopefully, now that Blizzard is owned by Microsoft will go to Diablo and be like, hey, tone that shit down. Let's make you a fun game before we worry about making you a like $1 billion game for Krakens. But like I said, there's going to be a lot of eyes on Black Division while we wait to see how Microsoft addresses the fact that they tried to turn everything into a game as service. I know Microsoft has already said they want to see the strategy games come back. So getting like a new actual Warcraft game, a new actual StarCraft game.
Well, there's that company that
Cool.
basically a former Blizzard execs that started their own game and they got promoted at Game Fest, or not Game Fest, at Game Awards.
Yeah. Well, I think 2 years from now, because there's been a bunch of that, with all the cutting strategy games, like Firaxis has let go of a bunch of the XCOM people.
Yeah.
And then the old Psygnosis crew are doing their own game too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we will see a strategy game, like a lot of strategy games coming in the next couple of years. The question is whether all these people who've gone independent because they aren't valued by game companies because they don't make, they make stable games with stable sales that make profit, but they don't make like, put a new gold toilet in your third yacht profit. We'll see if they can innovate again on their own, or if they're all too stuck in their grognardy. And I have hope, because when Firaxis brought back XCOM, man, every step of that game was an improvement.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of both playability and accessibility.
95%, huh? Why do I consistently miss 95%? It's guaranteed, John.
Did you ever play XCOM, like UFO Defense or Terror from the Deep? 99% of the time, missed 90% of the time. That was like a guaranteed
bullshit.
miss. You'd see that 99% and you'd be like, fuck, this ain't hitting.
Seriously though,
Like, give me a 93. Give me a 93 any day. I don't need this 99 shit.
It's like every shot, especially with like a sniper, because they do so much damage, and you're like, God, this has to hit. He has to hit this, or this bitch is dying. And then,
Boom.
damn, shot went wide. Like, you fucking bitch. I was like, you had one job.
You had one job. Any more complaints?
A lot of shit just got pushed back, man. I'm gonna be honest, like a lot of stuff. Tekken. What happened to Hollow Knight? That's not even like.
I thought it was gonna be announced at Game Awards, and the developer on Xbox they did an Xbox indie. They just said it's coming out soon.
Next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it was like a short Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Yeah, that one and Senua are the two that were promised to come out before. Because 2 years ago, they promised those on the Xbox Game Show in like May.
Yeah.
We're like, within a year, these games will drop. They're like, well, they said within a year, and now it's like
And they're like,
two big games. Now both those games are like, yeah, we're coming. I don't know what's taking Silk Song so long. I know Senua, I think, has just bit off way more than that studio can chew with their promises, and Microsoft is like,
Well, Hellblade
Senua
Senua 2 is coming out next year for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I think their development
and
took so long because they're trying so much.
And I showed you that
experimental storytelling stuff.
And I showed you that trailer, right, about the engine that they're using, where it's the Japanese train station that looks so fucking real, but
completely real.
Yeah, but then like, the supernatural element kicks in and it turns to night, and you're like, oh, this is a video game. Yeah, that shit's crazy.
I don't know if that will make for great actual game, like with gameplay, like Senua.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would make for an amazing engine for like something like Alan Wake or Fatal Frame, or the ones that are like lower action horror games.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be an amazing engine for those.
Yeah, where you can like sit in the environments and like soak it in a little more.
Well, and ones where you're not relying on like fast-paced controls and stuff. Because I think if you try to get too actiony, I think it's gonna chug resources with how good it looks. So something where you have less stuff on screen and there's less mocap need for your, your actors.
Mm-hmm.
Where everything's slower and more realistic. I think I think that engine's gonna be. I think that engine is gonna make a shit ton of money from big name horror devs. Because as long as you have like a low enough amount of things on screen at once that you don't start killing like the Series X, I think that engine's just gonna do amazing things for horror games with how realistic you can make it look.
Okay. Well, what was a game on your list that you were like what game on your list was like the best game that you played? What was like the most surprising game, and what was ultimately like the worst experience of the games that was on your list that you played?
I don't even think I played any of these. Oh, I played Street Fighter.
You piece
Street
of
Fighter
shit.
was fun. And then I stopped playing just because I stopped playing games in general. I don't know. I had a weird minute where I was just like sitting there watching documentaries. Yeah, why didn't Carthage take Rome? He was right there.
He was right there. I mean, Dan could explain to you why.
Because it's not the mission. That's what he said. It's not what we're here for. And then the Romans are like, damn, he's not attacking. All right, let's go kill him. It's like, let's politic our way out of this.
So yeah, you didn't play 16. You didn't play Like a Dragon, Ishin.
I mean, I played. So one game that I did play that I wanted to pick that I didn't get to pick was Armored Core, which it was like, you know what it felt like? It felt like, those stories in like rom-coms where they're like, I spent 3 months in Cancun with a woman that I spent, a magical time, and then I had to go home and I think about her every day. That's like Armored Core.
That's like Armored Core for you?
I just played the shit out of it. I got all the achievements, and I just like, I could quit. I could say I played the game.
Bro.
And I loved it.
Bro.
Action game of the year.
Bro.
Let's go.
Fucking that was me 2 days ago with what's it called? With Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Finally beat that bitch.
Yeah, I saw you were towards the end. And I was like, whoa, looks like you're finally climbing the end level. They all look like fiery.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe. Like, thank God I was furloughed for 2 weeks, because I could not play this game at all in like a normal like span of time. I needed this break in order to beat that game. Fuck, man. Oh. And it was it's sadly not my favorite game of this year. It is my game of the year, but it wasn't my most. It wasn't the game that I enjoyed the most playing this year.
Which one was
that?
Knack 3, baby.
No, to be honest, nothing.
Really?
I was so miserable this year because of my job that no game could bring me out of my funk. No game.
That's a lie.
No.
It is. There were 2 full weeks where you were happy as shit because of Street Fighter 6.
So, yes, but I was organizing. I was running tournaments. I had to get a second computer down in the basement and like manage all of it. I turned my hobby into a job. And I'm still doing that. I'm still organizing tournaments, still organizing weeklies. and I'm not even good at the game. I get my ass handed to me 90% of the time. And there is a there is a threshold. Like,
I just told you it was a skill issue, Vic. Why you gotta rub it in?
yeah, like, and like the shitty thing is like Derek last night kind of like he got upset. He got pissed. He got like he got upset because he was getting his ass handed to me, or not. He was getting his ass handed to him, and I was like, "You're still doing, you're doing like amazingly well at this game, Derek." But he was just like completely just like he like raged through his controller across the ground, sort of thing. And I was like, "Damn, like I can't experience that." Because I'm so tired that I don't get mad when I lose at fighting games, because I know I'm not good enough to beat people. I just like to be a part of the community and the experience.
See, that's why, dude. You don't have that winner mindset.
I don't. I really don't. I went to Evo.
That killer instinct. I don't get mad either.
But like, but I will say that Tears of the Kingdom there were some moments in that game that just made me smile. That were like, oh my god, this is so, like, this is like so amazing that they added this feature in this game, and it just brought a smile to my face. Like, I wouldn't say that Spider-Man was a miserable time, but like towards the end, it just turned into a horde mode. I was just fighting so many fucking symbiote spawns that was like, dude, is this like your major game design to just throw waves after waves of enemy? This just seems a little ridiculous. And I haven't played Alan Wake 2. I'm gonna be playing that like.
It's all shit.
But I heard Alan Wake 2 is like actually really fucking good. So
it is.
Maybe that is the game that will make me like happy, because so Phantom Liberty.
I don't know. Alan Wake does not put a smile on people's faces. It does not bring joy. It's really good, but it does not bring joy.
But I want to feel something. That's like what I'm trying to tell you. Like, I want to feel something.
It might make you feel something.
I want, like, Tears of the Kingdom kind of made me feel something. I was like, oh.
I don't know. The last game totally made you feel something. You like were hard coping about it. You're like, actually, it wasn't that.
What game was that?
It was Ghost of Tsushima, I think.
Oh, because that game was like so fucking raw, though. Like,
see, and then you cried, and then it was like, dude, I'm like, oh, that seems pretty cool. Like, the game was really that good. He's like, yeah, but I don't think it was that, dude. I think it was it, and I'm like, what?
Well, the gameplay loop is kind of repetitive, but the storytelling's amazing. But there's still the storytelling. Dude, you find out that your basically your father cheated on your mother with like this handmaiden, and this handmaiden just basically was like your mother the whole time. And she dies. And like it's so heartbreaking, because it's like, oh, your mother died, this lady took care of you that basically was your second mother, and your dad had a thing for her, but you know, they were both very staunch, stubborn Japanese people, and they couldn't, you know, they're like, we'll never love again, sort of thing. And then like when she dies, it's kind of like, oh, my mother died. Like, my second mother died. Like the whole when you basically get the like Reaper mode and you strike terror into people's hearts, that's like a fucked up like way that you get it, because you start cutting down people in horrific ways. Like, you basically have to become like your enemy in order to like defeat him.
Yeah, you have to abandon honor in order to win.
Yeah.
And then when you do what it takes to win,
yeah, you get
your people fucking turn on you.
Yeah, they turn on you. But it is a repetitive ass game, but the story was so good.
What other game was like that? Where, like, the gameplay, it just wasn't good, but the story was like, damn.
The gameplay's good. It's just
repetitive.
Doing the same stuff constantly.
It's definitely it definitely is an Insomniac Sucker Punch game, because it has Infamous DNA all over it, where you just do the same shit over and over again.
Man, that game was fun.
It was fun, but you do a lot of the same shit over and over again.
I don't know. I just love the. It was like cool. Oh my god, with superpowers. Like,
Yeah.
it feels like you know what's that meme about like this game makes you feel like Batman.
Yeah.
You know, this game was like it makes you feel like a superhero. You know, or
Yeah.
villain if you were really a bad guy.
I haven't played Super Mario RPG yet, but I've played that forever. Mortal Kombat 1 was.
Gino is disappointed in you.
Shut up. I had time. Yeah, man. I even like games on your guys' list that I never got a chance to play Resident Evil 4. I didn't have a chance to play Dead Space. I didn't get a chance to play Pikmin 4. I own Mirage because it came with my video card and it's just sitting there collecting dust.
Or if you played the first Dead Space, it plays just like that one.
If it makes you feel any better, Mirage is the one game on my list I haven't played.
Oh. By the way, okay, I have one complaint. You're a bitch.
shit.
You're a bitch, Dan.
Whoa.
Why?
Whoa.
What'd I do?
You spent
did you do?
$70 on Sea of Stars. You're actually
That was my last game. I dumped the rest of my money on
you're
it.
actually a bitch made bitch for taking that away from me.
No, you didn't. How can you tell?
You could go into the bids and it tells you how much he spent.
Okay, but if I had understood the bidding shit better, if I'd done this the year before, I'd have had Super Mario Brothers
Oh, yeah.
Wonder instead of you.
Yeah,
which was a higher scoring game. So
Yes.
you can go bitch yourself somewhere else.
I was like, oh my god, you fucking sniping piece of shit.
Oh, it was $50. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's half the budget. I mean, that's fair though. for
Yeah,
what
I
it's
just-
worth.
But I bought everything else cheap because nobody was gunning for my shit. So
Yeah.
Well,
once
you
I had
sniped
one
my
game
shit.
left- Which one?
The Like a Dragon.
How did I snipe that? That's the next to last game I bought.
No, I know. I was like, you know what? I've got a few dollars left. Let me just fill it out. And then I just like,
you
oh,
didn't
what the
get it.
fuck? I didn't get the last one. So then I had to like pick up other games, and I'm like, oh fuck. That's why I
Yeah.
ended up with SteamWorld Build. Well, that's all I needed. God damn it.
It's all I needed. Yeah, like I was like, damn, that would have put me over, but whatever.
It would've.
Okay, let's talk about the score. Man, 139 to 140.
It's like one game. If any of us swap one game, it's like they win.
Yeah.
So, Vic, you
Hara
win.
has all his games are like
The
very
banger.
high highs and then very low lows.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
You
like
won
the roller
by-
coaster.
So Dan actually, I think Dan hustled the hardest this year because
Yeah,
he
I
had
gotta keep up.
because you won by mediocrity. Your scores
Yeah.
are the most mediocrity, like
Yeah,
middle of the
That's my
road.
Street
I
Fighter
would have
6,
lost
yeah.
had he not picked Wanted Dead and that Redfall. Those are so they were
Either
so
one
bad.
of those. Even if Curse of the Sea Rats had just gotten a 70,
Yeah,
I think if they'd just given it where it needed to go, and all I need is a point. If they'd rated Dead Island what they should have rated and given it like a 55.
I want if there was a way to award an MVP score, I would have awarded Dan with the MVP score just because, whew, he had a good start at the beginning of the year with Dead Space, but then there was just like, oh man, when Redfall came out, that was like a big blow, and then the counter pick for
Pikmin was one that I was looking at, and then I knew all you guys are like, oh, there's no way I'm getting this without dropping like too much money.
yeah,
I think I got it for like $2.
yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, he got it like
Oh, and here I was thinking like, no, everybody's gonna. It's like such a like.
But it's the first
Mainstay.
game. It was the first or second game I picked up after. Yeah, it was the first game. I picked it up the same day.
yeah,
I put the bid in for it after our initial.
yeah.
Because I was just going through games coming out and trying to figure out what it was. I hadn't originally wanted Atomic Heart, so I couldn't remember what it was, like what other games I thought were going to be great, and then I picked up Pikmin's 4 Wild Hearts and I think Assassin's Creed Mirage like within a week. I'm like, oh yeah, those games, I should get those. And then Mirage was a.
So you win, Vic. Yeah. So who do you want to punish?
What do you mean?
So you get to choose.
I was supposed to be whoever loses, not.
Well, I lose technically.
Well, I was gonna say technically the loser just completely dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah. So.
Like a loser.
Like a loser.
And even funnier, I was a last second addition, so it would have just been a 1v1 at like the end of the year.
Yeah. But
so what was, I don't even know what do I win?
So you
lose.
The loser gets has to praise your system of choice for video games.
The PSP.
I have to lament about the PSP.
Yeah, dude, it's such
God.
a great, so ahead of its time, bro. It's like.
Okay, you're gonna give me like a week in order to come up, because I even remember, like, if Derek was here, he would tell you how much I was like, the PSP is gonna be a 10-year tailspin of worthlessness, and I was right. But man,
hey, it certainly had games.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that are.
It had a lot of games.
Yeah.
That were games.
They were games.
Play them on the PSP.
Yeah.
That would be me. I don't think I ever played anything except for was Chains of Pandora, whatever the God of War game on PSP was. Is the only thing I ever played on it.
I played the demo for that.
Yeah.
We had a stand at GameStop that had a PSP with that loaded into it, so I think I beat the game on that stand.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Like just
in dead time in the yeah.
I mean, it was literally like a fucking God of War game for your PSP, and it was good.
Other than that, it was on a tiny little screen, but that kind of worked with God of War at the time. There wasn't a whole lot of like finicky small things to find.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a little arena, an arena beat 'em up, basically, right?
Yeah. No, it had levels and stuff, but this was, old school God of War, so it was like 2.5D, so it was easy to find everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's between God of War 2 and 3. Or like was a version of God of War 2 with an extra level or some nonsense. I don't remember, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I was still working at GameStop, man.
Man, just the horrible news that we received.
Yeah.
About what? GameStop?
Oh, just
the person who was managing when we were all like brought together in that company passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry. Recently?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, that sucks.
But, yeah.
Yeah. So I think if we start a new league, it'll just be us three again. I tried asking Derek. Derek didn't want to join. I feel like with the 4, like 4 is kind of chaotic because clearly there was just a lot of games that were just like sniped from Will, and like
also, God, this was the year where almost all the stuff that got delayed in the pandemic finally came out.
Yeah.
I don't know how much stuff there would be. We'd have to do less games per person for sure.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if we could find 18 games for 4 people.
Yeah.
Unless we're all just looking to see who can get the best of the bargain bin. And that's like part of the draw of next year's Fantasy League Critic. Then we find a 4th and go 18 games.
Well, if you guys know of somebody who wants to join, that will actually join, that will actually participate, let me know. Yeah, but so far, this was, man, this, like I said, I will say that this year was actually kind of like I was checking every week, checking to see who was bidding. I was checking to see like what game releases. Like I tried sneaking in Grand Blue and Avatar just to feel something, man. Just to feel something. I was like, Avatar's gonna score well. I'm gonna get some more points for that. There's gotta be something. And
Oh man, Avatar did not score well at all.
yeah,
It didn't do well at all.
It just gave me 1 point. So
It was a really pretty
Yeah.
experience. I don't know if I can call it a game.
yeah. But man, Grand Blue.
It runs, right? How's that? How's that?
There's a lot of
Redfall?
stuff. That's the thing about this year, though, is there's a lot of stuff I would have had on the list instead if it hadn't been in early access for so long, and I'm worried that's going to become a trend.
Well, I mean, so Lethal League, we're not going to be able to bid on, or not Lethal League, Lethal Company.
Does it have scores? Or yeah, I'm sure it's got scores.
I just gotta have a score, but
Because we couldn't do the haunting game either for the same reason, because that
Yeah.
hasn't officially been released yet.
yeah,
But it
World
had
of Horror
scores.
couldn't do it.
Couldn't get World of Horror, couldn't get Baldur's Gate, couldn't get Against the Storm, couldn't get Timberborn, couldn't get... There's something else, too, that I was looking at that was just early access long enough to pick up scores.
Yeah. I don't know. Next year is going to be a little bit difficult because I'm actually looking at like the 2024 year games.
There's a much smaller pool of games.
Yeah, very.
Like whoever wins that by first is going to get Sinua. And Hollow Knight will go to number 2, or vice versa.
I don't know. I'm going to be.
Those are like the anticipated releases. Although I kind of feel like with all this time in development, hell, at least one of those is going to be bad.
Well, we'll see. We'll see
It's
what happens.
called I Am Jesus Christ. What the fuck is that?
What?
It literally just says I Am Jesus Christ on the makeup. If you go to make a bid,
Oh,
it releases December 31st.
what game?
Damn,
Lethal.
he's coming
Wait.
back.
Oh, I Am Jesus Christ. Yeah, I heard about that game.
Damn it, Judas. And then, oh man, coincidence, dude. March 2025. Jesus Christ, that's a little early to have on the fucking list, isn't it?
Oh man, the new Prince of Persia. That's the 2.5D one, right?
Yeah. There's a couple
Turned
games.
classic.
If we were to start the bidding tonight, I know my first 4 picks, but
It's too early though.
well, we definitely got to do it in January because that's where we have to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
Oh. Yeah, I don't know what my first picks would be.
I know my first. I already know my. Okay, I know my first and second pick are
Probably Tekken 8.
no.
Talking for me. Man, Helldivers 2 is gonna be big. I don't know if it'll be good, but it'll be big.
Yeah. So
Definitely not Skull and Bones. After I want that game to be good, and it's just not.
no, I have some
I wonder if
heaters.
Dark Forces is gonna be enough to get an actual score in there. I know you want your Final Fantasy 7 again.
But yeah, I'm just
You go
like
on in the dark.
I just want to be able to like. But we
South Park.
So do we want to do the next? Because the first game that gets released that I see on the list is January 18th. So we'd have to start. Do we just want to do like January 8th? That's like. Wait.
For my birthday.
Oh no, that's all right. January
a
January
Monday.
5th. So next Friday.
Yeah,
Have
that'll
an
work for me.
Okay.
appointment maybe that day. I'll have to check.
Okay. Well, let me know. We'll figure it out. But yeah. So I'll have to lament.
Frostpunk 2 is scheduled for next year. Wow, they're doing a Greedfall 2, huh? I
Yeah.
didn't think that game sold well enough to get a sequel. Oh, here's my Texas Chainsaw Massacre game I'm gonna have to pick up, even though it's probably gonna be not good. And it's not a asymmetric horror, but John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. I'm gonna have to grab just out of hope. That's gonna be my wish in a dream game. Toxic Commando.
Oh, that. All you should know what my wish and a hope dream game is gonna be.
Lollipop Chainsaw.
No.
It's been announced and you hope it's good, or that you hope it actually comes out or that somebody makes. Because that's a game that's announced for next year.
No, there's a game that got announced for next year that I hope is good, but I don't think it's gonna be good.
Jay and Silent Bob Chronic Blunt Punch?
What do you mean? That's definitely gonna be good.
You'll when I bid on it, you're gonna be like, oh, okay. And then you're gonna be like, both of you are just gonna be like, wow, Para, you just passed on this turn, didn't you? And I'm like, I believe.
There's my counter pick. There's my counter pick.
There's my counter pick. I believe. Oh man, but yeah.
Oh, Bloodlines 2.
Oh, fuck you.
Coming out. Definitely coming out next year.
By Chinese Room.
By
I'm actually
nobody who had anything to do with Vampire Bloodlines Massacre.
Yeah.
Vampire Massacre Bloodlines 1. I don't see a game in this list of stuff. Maybe it's not officially announced for next year, but I don't see one that seems like a U.
No, you called it. It's a vampire.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, when he said it, I'm like, oh, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, Rise Kindred and join us in September. And then they announced that it's coming out.
Is there new?
Yeah, you know what game disappoints the crap out of me?
What?
Star Wars Hunters. The
I
Bounty
think
Hunter game they announced like 3 years ago for consoles that they claimed was going to be a like open world bounty hunter game.
Yeah.
And now it's a fucking phone game.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Well, womp womp. I've ever fucking heard.
I'm hoping Outlaws is what they were planning on making with bounty hunters, and they just decided, or Disney just decided they didn't want to like bad guy Star Wars game. So now they made it Scoundrels instead of bounty hunters, and now it's Outlaws. And I'm hoping that has all the cool stuff they showed. God, it wasn't even 2 years ago. It was 4 years ago now for the last actual E3. Gods. Which is going to be the last actual E3 too. They officially canned E3, so.
Yep, pour one out for E3. Finally dead.
That's the big disappointment of the year.
Oh yeah. Man, that used to be like gamer mecca.
It was. It was my gamer mecca.
It was like everybody goes.
And when you went to the last time, it was just another E3 with a lot of cool announcements. It was a good year to be at E3, but like nobody was there going, I bet this is going to be the last one. This will be the last time.
I know. It kind of felt like, so the guys that were ReedPop, that does all the PAXs, they were trying to kind of build out E3 to be more of a spectacle. Yeah. But that's the game industry doesn't want that. They want their entitled meetings and not have general public go in and not have it be a convention.
Oh, and they want to do presentations, not have to actually like show anything.
Yeah. So
they marketing. I don't think it's video game industry. I think it's the marketing of video game industry has decided that's
who's the first one that pulled out? Was it Sony?
It was Nintendo. Nintendo was the first one to pull. Well, so they pulled out, but they still had a presence at E3. But they didn't do their.
They got rid of the stage show and they did the Nintendo Treehouse stuff.
Yeah, they're direct in the Treehouse.
So the direct was not at E3, but they had the Treehouse and it was all just like playable demos. They were the king of come play our shit. We're not gonna present anything. We're not gonna, go on a stage and give a big spectacle, but our games are all here. You can come play them. And then Sony, technically they're the second to pull out because Devolver was only there for 1 year.
Yeah,
and then started renting space across the street and doing their own show.
That was the best one, though. I love going to the Devolver Digital hot dog stand.
And when they did their pre-E3
show
every year, it was so good.
Yeah,
so good.
I'm gonna miss that the most. But I think they did
E3.
They did at Summer Game Fest. They did an anti E3.
Yeah.
So I guess it's going to carry over to Game Fest. But here's the thing. I think Jeff Keighley is going to bring back but he's going to make it more exclusive, which is that's the problem with Jeff Keighley now in charge of the game industry, is that was the whole beauty of E3 in my opinion. Someone like me could attend E3 with the media badge because I put in the hard work to get approved for it. Now, I have to have.
You have to have a friend.
I have to have clout. Friends. I have to have internet clout. I have to have a following. I have to be an influencer. I have to be a content creator on top of being a game reporter or know somebody. Like, it's going to be a lot harder to cover games at Summer Game Fest because it's basically Jeff Keighley's show. So Jeff Keighley decides, and he wants more. If you haven't noticed, he just wants more Hollywood he wants Hollywood in video games more than actual press, because he's the press. He's like,
I don't thing.
Yeah, Keenan Pill. What's his first name?
Oh my God! Think of what you're gonna say, man.
Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele.
He had both of them.
He had Jordan Peele.
Michael Key.
But Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele was the guy he brought on stage for OD. That's the name of the game that they're.
Yeah, but he helped write it. So
yeah.
That's the new Elden Ring. We got us a real writer, a Hollywood writer.
A Hollywood writer. But yeah, I've just.
It'd be like a horror game or some shit, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. It's not. It's a interactive horror.
It's a game.
But it's like a lot of things. It's messed up, is what it is.
Credit where credit is due. At least someone's trying.
Yeah.
Someone's trying to take this medium to the next level. Fucking hell.
The problem is,
I don't need it to be taken to the next level. I just want a good game.
We want it to be taken to the next level of games.
Yeah.
We don't want it to be taken to the next level of films.
Yeah.
Because people have done interactive films a lot. Like, that's been done a lot throughout the years in video games with whatever the new crazy-ass film technology they want to run does. Like, it's been done to death, but it's not necessarily good.
Remember when they tried to push 3D TVs so fucking hard?
Yeah.
And nobody wanted them?
What do you mean, Vic? That was the next big thing.
The next big thing.
Are you telling me you don't have a 3D TV? That's like only having one gold-plated toilet on your yacht, Vic.
You don't have a yacht, Vic?
It was quite humorous, I'll say that much. It was really... What was another thing that was like, oh, this is gonna fucking burn and like crap?
Anytime they design
NFT?
A television that yeah, oh god, when that was everywhere in gaming.
Live service. That's crashing and burning right now.
But they still doing it.
Because they're stupid.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's because we're in an age where we're back in the late 90s. Video game executives know nothing about video games.
Yeah.
And they don't separate video games from internet culture. And that's a problem. Because those are separate things.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just... I was listening to a podcast and it was like, oh, so like, how was your 2023? And I was like, I just feel like we haven't really recovered from the pandemic. Everybody's still pessimistic as fuck. We're not truly out of it. And then, like, especially if you look at, like, we haven't been affected by the video game industry as a whole, but, like, it's sad to hear about people losing their jobs, even though this year has been a gangbuster year for video games.
All the restructuring, record profits.
Yeah, record profits, but, you know, we gotta fire all you. Sorry. It's so depressing. It's like,
I mean, when I hear record profits, it's always like it reminds me of like the oil industry. It's like every year they record record profits. It's like, well, yeah, when like money is not as worth as much as it was before, it goes up, and then everybody uses that as like a measurement stick. Like, oh, last year they made 50 million. This year they made 60 or 70, and they're still, you know, doing so and so. And it's like, well, yeah, but that was like a 2020 dollar.
Yeah, but like
2020.
But like, look what like Destiny right now is experiencing. Its like the morality of that company is Bungie is just kind of like, oh god, we're about to. They're on the teetering.
What is up with their company? Just like, yeah, we're fuck those guys at wherever the fuck they used to.
But they're at fucking Microsoft. They were owned by Bungie, and then they left, and then they tried to go independent, and then they realized that Destiny is too expensive of a game to manage. So they were like, "Hey, Sony, buy us." And Sony's like, "Well, we're only buying you because we want to turn every IP that we own into a live service, and you have the best live service game. So do that for us." And then they tried doing that with Last of Us Part 2, and they canned it because
canceled it, yeah.
because Bungie being honest. Yeah, no, Bungie was honest and were like, this game has a year's worth of content and it'll have a tailspin by 6 months. And Sony was like, well, we don't want to hear that. So
that's not what we want to hear.
Yeah,
I think I heard about that.
Yeah, it's like this game literally only has a year's worth of content that Naughty Dog has planned, and it only also like it will basically drop off within 6 months. And that was like the internal testing from Destiny and Bungie, and like Microsoft, or not Microsoft, but Sony was like, nope, and Naughty Dog was like, but we spent all this time and resources and money to make this, and they're like, nope, sorry, not good enough. So I mean, it's like what really, like, it just really sucks that like we live in an age now that we have more access to know this information, and like I tried not to read the Insomniac like leaks, but I did, and it's just like Sony is just like out of their fucking minds right now. But then
because they finally realized that Microsoft was right.
But Microsoft's out of their fucking minds right now with all the fucking Epic, like all that shit that got leaked. Every game company is just out of their fucking minds.
Yeah. Well, they realized Microsoft was right about the next generation being dependent on the like Game Pass being a solid driving force.
Yeah.
And Sony doesn't have an offering like that. So they're trying to find something that they can say is us only. Only Sony can offer you. Because the next console generation is probably in development right now.
Yeah.
So they all need something to focus their console around. And what they have isn't working the way they want it to.
Yeah.
In large part because video cards came down, so all the PC players are like back to PC. And even then, this generation of consoles has not sold all that well. I mean, that's in large part due to the fact that the manufacturing has kept it from being available, and it hasn't really dropped price. You know, it's still the same price it was when it came out. The consoles are better now.
Yeah.
They've upped the hard drive and stuff, but it's still the same console for the same price. So you've got this weird thing where PCs are cheaper and consoles are not, and so nobody's buying them. Everyone who was going to buy one at $500 or $600 has done it. Everybody else is like, when are you going to drop to like $250?
I feel like PCs have gotten a lot more entry friendly.
Well, no,
when
but
when
now
I
the
build
AI
my-
wars are happening now.
We don't talk about the AI wars, dude.
That it was like, oh, crypto's
Future.
dead. Crypto's dead. We'll get graphics cards cheap again, and everybody's like, nope. AI learning, buy them all up again.
I know, right?
And that'll, well, we'll see. There's a court case right now that may kill AI dead in the water.
AI is only going to get stronger from here on out.
Nope. Court case right now in New York says data scraping is copyright infringement.
They'll figure out some other way to get their data.
$68 billion
We've
from
already,
just the New York Times.
yeah, we just opened up the can of worm. We've opened up Pandora's box. It's not going anywhere.
It might become not publicly accessible, which will slow down the ridiculous AI wars.
And then I'll just pay for it because I use it every day.
Okay, but the database it has will have to be scrubbed.
We'll see.
That's the
Oh,
problem. If they can't scrape data to make their language models, they're fucked. Because that's how they get it. And it won't affect the writing one, I think, as badly as it will the art one. But if it comes down to it that any time you produce something that uses a part of something you scraped off the internet that is copyrighted, you have to pay for it, then AI is fucked. Outside of like the things it's actually good at, which is algorithm generation for like finance models.
Yeah.
Which I'd say I don't really want computers in charge of my finance models, but like they're still probably better than actual financiers. They're slightly less evil.
If I could fire my accountant, that's basically, I got furloughed for 2 weeks because I would fire her in a heartbeat and have an AI do my accounting. Dead ass, for reals. I didn't get paid for 2 weeks because our accountant is old school and just refuses to pay us. I would fire her in a heartbeat.
Your accountant is refusing to pay you now? That's lame. Did
Well,
you
I
ever
got
get the,
I got paid today.
Did you ever get the grant, your money? Or
No,
are you still backed up on the
we're still backed up.
data for that?
We're still backed up. Gotta wait until January to get paid. Whew, man, guys, what a
I'd say
year!
enjoy your vacation, but involuntary unpaid vacation sucks.
Oh no, I love it. I was such a degenerate like the last couple days just playing Zelda. I'm a little bit because now that I've beaten Zelda, the thing that was just keeping me afloat emotionally is now gone. And-
You've hit catharsis.
Yeah,
That's what they call it.
so I'm like, do I want to start? Okay, Dan, do I start Alan Wake 2 even though I feel this catharsis, or should I give it some time?
Alan Wake 2 is actually the perfect game to start when you feel cathartic, because it will replace that.
It will replace that. Okay.
Existential dread. Or, and hear me out, you could play Yakuza like a dragon
Build a more existential
and
dread.
just get punched in the gut every 30 minutes every half hour on the half hour. You're old and have done nothing. You're basically a bum in a house. You've accomplished none of your dreams. 8-year-old you would kick your
I
butt
was
if he
gonna
could find
say,
you.
I still haven't beat that, and I've gotten pretty far in it too, and I'm so mad at myself because I'm like, the second one's already coming out, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta finish this one. And also, it functions a lot better with a controller.
Yeah.
As a man who is in his middle age, every like 30 minutes that game just kicks me right in the nuts. Because it's all about like, hey, you're middle-aged, and you didn't help the world like you wanted.
Because he
That
spent it all
sucks.
in jail.
Well, just life kept you from living your dreams,
Yeah.
and you trusted institutions that betrayed you. So it's literally like the life of my entire generation. Because my entire generation was we've discovered the road to a stable life, just follow this road.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody followed that road, and it was college debt, low-paying jobs because there are too many of you for the workforce who have degrees. So we have not just making you now take jobs that used to not require degrees, we have lowered the pay of entry-level positions that require degrees. And now we're just getting rid of entry-level and demanding experience for everything.
Fuck that. I can't get into a job with my experience. They want me to have a dumb degree.
Yeah.
It's
Well, no, the degree was the requirement because they made us all get degrees. That was the first step of fuck you in your like future.
Yeah, but I have all this experience.
I know. Just lie.
I'm gonna lie. I'm gonna start lying.
No, just get one of those like online degrees.
Fuck that. Do you speak Spanish?
Un poquito español, muy un poquito.
Enough to trick an HR officer?
Probably.
Tell them you went to school in Mexico.
Probably.
Pick a college in Mexico. They're not going to verify.
Yeah. I don't know. Just
I used to be adamantly against lying on resumes, but now that I've dealt with like HR and I've learned how HR actually works, fuck them. They're all liars too. They're just gonna and they're just gonna hire liars. So
yeah.
Lie exactly as much as you can get away with. Cause fuck them. They
Fuck
built
'em.
the system that makes you lie.
Yeah. Well, so my goal this year is now that like my nonprofit program is slowing down a bit and I won't have to work as hard as I did this year going into next year. I hope. Cross fingers. I mean, I'm saying that now and then I get like all this like fucking work dumped on me at the last second because raisins. I'm gonna write a lot more. I want to write more reviews, and I want to like try to get into the game industry in like any sort of like major capacity, but I kind of want to go back to what I enjoy doing, which was like just reporting on stuff. And yeah, that's kind of like my goal going into 2023 or 2024.
Speaking of gaming, I went to a gaming bar in San Jose. It was really cool.
I probably know it. I was thinking about going up there.
Was it called Equinox?
Yes, I've heard of Equinox.
Yeah, I went there for a Star Citizen event, and it was really cool.
Cool.
No, yeah, it was like a friend of mine was like got me into Star Citizen.
Start into a game that isn't a game.
It's spreadsheets.
Yeah. No, it's not spreadsheets. It's
a
actual
fancy
combat.
garage.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was thinking EVE Online.
Yeah, Eve's the spreadsheets.
Man. Well, this season has come to a close. I had a really fun time playing against you guys.
We never got around to me and Vic saying what games we liked most from our list.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So,
I did.
so my highest score games were both remakes, which is moderately disappointing in that non-remakes did not score as high.
It's Ouroboros, man.
The only game I didn't play was Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is kind of a lie. I played like an hour of it at a friend's house and just was not... I had no desire to play anymore. I played every game on my list. Obvious Redfall was the most disappointing. Because I really like Arcane, and that game had a lot of promise. Group monster hunting seems like it would be a fantastic way to make a game. I want to see a Scooby-Doo action game where you play as the crew and take on an old man in a costume. I think that would be great fun. But nobody ever manages to pull it off. The game on my list I enjoyed the most was probably Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because I like asymmetric horror games. I would not recommend it now because the player base is just... No, it's not getting shut down.
That's how it was.
The player... No, the player base is... Everybody keeps saying that because it doesn't do well on Steam, but it's on Game Pass and has thousands of views on Game Pass. But the community is toxic as fuck. Like, if I were the developers, I would not develop anything more for that game. I'd wash my hands of the whole thing and be like, fuck these guys. And I know the developers really love the movies, and I hope they have plans, and I hope they make money, whatever, but man, I cannot play with these people. Like, it requires coordination, and just, I don't want to talk to anybody. Like, 90% of the people I've had to deal with on that game have made me wish that they were on the victim side so I could murder them with a chainsaw instead. The game itself is fun if you have friends. But that said, the one I enjoyed the most other than that is probably, outside of the remakes, was the one that I think surprised me with how much I enjoyed it, actually was the Dead Cells game.
Dead Cells.
The
Thank you, by the way. That's a
Castlevania
great
DLC.
gift you gave me. That's
You're
awesome
welcome.
of you.
Because I like Dead Cells, but I didn't love Dead Cells the way other people love Dead Cells. I
Yeah.
liked it, but the Castlevania expansion is just so much better than the base game, which is really rare for a DLC. Usually DLCs are like, we added some cool stuff.
So
But Dead Cells is like, this is the game we wanted to make but couldn't. We made it.
we made it finally. We got approval.
It's ours. We made it. Play it. Love it. Wonder how other people haven't played this game.
It ain't no Shea Gorath's realm.
Damn.
That's just because Oblivion was so disappointing that Isles of
Whoa.
Madness made it significantly better.
Oh.
Oh.
Base
Them the
Oblivion
fighting
was
words.
trash, dude. The level scaling was garbage. The fact that they took something that the books in 4 other games had described as like a jungle Venice and turned it into a Lord of the Rings whip-off.
Yeah.
Every quest line except the Dark Brotherhood and the Necromancer quest lines were boring. Felt like they were written by a 12-year-old.
Well, yeah.
Especially coming off of the high that was Morrowind.
Mhm.
Morrowind was so good. And then Oblivion was so bland. And then Knights of the Nine was garbage. The first DLC that nobody even remembers.
Mhm.
And then Isles
I
of
remember
Madness
that. You get
completely
the- You get the holy armor.
yeah.
and you
And then
can't-
Isles
you
of
can't-
Madness
You have
completely
to,
saved that game.
and if you're a criminal, you can go on a pilgrimage, so you can wear the armor to forgive your sins.
I forgot to say the game that surprised me real quick was Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. It wasn't the greatest. I did still experience like some flaws with Cyberpunk that didn't make it the game I wanted it to be for all these years. But I was surprised by how without I think I told this to Dan the other night, but there definitely is like there is like 4 paths you could take, but the reference I make is it's like Castlevania Symphony of the Night. It's like you could play the game normally and not unlock the inverted castle. But are you really playing the game if you don't get to the inverted castle? Like, and it's not because it's just a remapped skin of the entire game upside down, but there's like story elements, boss elements, fucking Dracula himself, like
different in-game boss.
yeah, the different in-game boss, like that to me. When a friend of the show Derek, Rivethead, told me what the ending he got, I was like, oh, so you didn't go to the inverted castle? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, there's this whole other part of the game that you could explore that's like really, I feel like is like a core part of the game. And he's like, no, I didn't. And I was like, well, then, and so I had to I basically went on YouTube and saw what he experienced, and I was like, oh man, you're missing out like on a whole other section of the game. And he was like, well, that's the ending I got, and I'm satisfied with it. I'm like, yeah, but would you be satisfied knowing that you played Castlevania Symphony of the Night the first time around and didn't get to the inverted castle? And he tried to make it sound like that wasn't the case, and I was like, no, there is definitely some core story and elements in a whole section of the game that you can never access unless you get to this part of the game. Like, you cannot get to this part of the game unless you go through this, this other ending. And that to me is like content that you're missing out on. And he got really upset by that, and I was like, well, I'm not trying to yuck your yum. I'm just trying to tell you that, like, there's this whole other section of the game that you're missing out on, because he chose, once again, and this is kind of like a deep cut for Dan and I, he chose rebellion over. He's like, fuck, you know. He did a virtual adept thing, which is like, well, fuck everybody, fuck your system. Freedom over reason, freedom over like safety, freedom over, you know.
Yes. I like this. Keep going.
Like, but you're wrong. Like, that's the problem. You could never be free in Night City. It's like he could never be free in Mage. Like, he was bound by the rules of society and the laws of reality.
The consensual reality.
Yeah. So he could never be.
That faction would be the most fun and depressing faction to write in a modern Mage book.
Oh, Mage? Oh, yeah.
Virtual Adepts, because they got to watch. They had their utopia, and they brought it to the masses, and the masses turned it to shit.
Yeah. Their always online world turned into cryptocurrency, Ponzi scheme, influencer base, clout.
Just bullying, social media.
Yeah.
It turned into the worst things about humanity, amplified. They wanted to make the best things of humanity, our ability to reason and share knowledge, and talk, and form bonds, and they wanted to turn that up to 11. And instead, they got the shit, all the shit.
Yeah.
All of it. And that's the shit over, like, the good stuff's still there, but it's so over. Like I said, they would be the most fun and the most depressing
faction to write about.
Mage book to write, because they built the thing they thought was going to lead humanity to enlightenment. And humanity just defecated on it and wrote fuck you in the poop.
I can't wait for Bloodlines 2.
Oh man, I'm gonna do. That's like the first thing I'm gonna do, starting New Year's. I want to do like a video series on, like, I'm gonna give it the old college try. I'm gonna go in with a positive attitude.
I shouldn't say that, because it's like Bloodlines 1 is so old that I can say nobody in Chinese room had anything to do with making of Bloodlines.
Yeah.
But they all could have been, like, teenagers playing Bloodlines who have been massively inspired to make games because of stuff like Bloodlines. And so they might do a better job of continuing it than whatever the fuck the company was called before that had all the dudes from the original game.
Yeah. Which, one thing I will say I hope 2024 does different is HR executives, stop firing people on social media. Don't let people find out that they lost their jobs on social media. Do the common fucking courtesy and actually send out like a fucking internal memo saying you're being laid off. I know so many. Yeah. I know so many people who are just affected by. They found out they literally lost their jobs on social media. Like,
send them a tweet.
You've been fired. Like, thousands of people got laid off at EA, and then, like, my friend was like, oh, I walked into work today thinking that I had a job, and then they were like, pack your shit, and he's like, well, I found out through fucking social media when I asked them. I didn't have to ask them. I could have just done my job, and the moment I asked them, they were like, oh yeah, you're fired. So it is what it is.
In the video game industry, just stop fucking firing people when you're making, like, record profits off their work.
Unionize.
Yeah.
2024.
Well, that's happening. Microsoft is going to have one soon. It's Raven's Watch that made one already.
Yeah, but Microsoft
is going to have one.
They all got to fucking unionize.
The question is going to be, is this going to be an issue where we have a different union for every single video game corporation, so they're all kind of toothless, or are we going to wind up with a, like, video game developers union. And then what kind of fighting is there going to be over who is and who isn't a part of the union? Are they going to fuck over the temp workers that are a big part of the video game industry, like bug testers and sound designer, like all the designer groups that rotate jobs or companies?
I just think they should just be part of established unions and then develop new unions around established unions. Like if you work in sound, then you should be part of the audio engineers. Like if your song gets nominated for a Grammy, then you should be part of the what's it called? What's the
Songwriters Association of America?
Yeah, you should be part of the song. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
If your game gets nominated for a fucking Grammy.
The issue is if your company, right? So like your video game development company shouldn't be dealing with 5 different unions. Ideally, you have a video game development union. So the people who are working in video game development all collectively bargain together. Because when you have like 6 different unions, that's why movie payment distribution is so fucked up to the workers. That's why like screenwriters and actors get residuals, but like crew doesn't. Because there's a bunch of different unions representing everybody. And that's what I said. That's the problem. Are we going to have our big name guys are going to be able to unionize, and then all the grunt labor just gets fucked still? Because if that happens, what was the point of the union in the first place?
To protect some people rather than not protect anybody?
Nah, unions protect everybody. Fuck the man.
Yeah, but obviously they're fighting against it, so protect who you can. Rather than just being shafted all the fucking time.
That's why you all stand together. But that's the problem, is convincing people that you can actually all stand together. Because once you start all standing together, that's when the company comes down and goes, hey, I can give you $15 an hour if you say fuck the union.
Yeah. Well, like the biggest thing, dude, I this isn't like an epiphany. I've always known this, but it's such a, like, poor people or people who get taken advantage of the workplace feel a sort of shame getting a handout or getting leverage or getting help. Like they feel there's like this sort of poor and like disassociation with receiving a handout, whereas the richest people in the world ask for fucking handouts all the time with government subsidies and tax breaks. They bitch the most about like, I need, like, especially when the PPP loans, like, I need millions of dollars in order to keep my multi-million-dollar company afloat. I need those millions today. Like they do, like rich people.
Oh, they'll take. It's the Ferengi laws of acquisition. We live by different rules.
Yeah.
The poor are expected to work hard and pull themselves up by their bootstraps, and rich people are expected to grab every dollar they possibly can.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem. So you have it's John Steinbeck quote. Said the problem in America is poor see themselves not as an exploited proletariat, but as temporarily distressed millionaires. And that's the other issue. Is nobody wants laws that like impact the millionaires, because so many people have it in their heads that they will be a part of that class someday.
Whatever.
They will be the owner. They will be the guy pushing people around, and god damn it, they got pushed around, so they want to be able to do it when they get up there. And that's part of American culture too, is we're very big on my life. Everything I've done up to this point has been a giant fight, so fuck you, you should have to fight too.
Yeah.
I'm fighting to survive, not fighting to make things better for you. It's like, no, you're just giving more money to the guy who's already got it all, but whatever. You do you, I guess.
And that was my monthly political rant, my Hasanabi plug. Any last comments? Vic, you are the champion, so do you have any final words? You got a speech prepared? Did you have anything in mind?
I know I was never sweating. I knew I was gonna win the whole time.
Oh my god! Look at this piece of shit.
Mr. Barely got enough reviews to get his points at the end.
king of mediocrity. That's what I fucking saw.
Yeah.
What
You
do you
got
mean?
one game in the 90s, and he took that from you.
Oh,
When you joined last minute.
he-
took the
he-
Street Fighter 6.
Oh boy.
You only have one game in the 90s.
Yeah, I have a ton of games in the high 80s, though.
Yeah.
I've got an 89. I think we only have like 4 games that broke 90 on 5 on all the lists.
Yeah.
5 total.
Anyways, so yeah, next Friday, hopefully we'll do the new draft. We'll start a new league, and yeah, we'll just continue from there. But thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate it. This will be going up on YouTube, so if you're watching later on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm doing more of these streams on YouTube as well. Leave a thumbs up and comment on what your favorite game of 2023 was
And why it was Baldur's Gate 3.
and why it was fucking Baldur's Gate 3. You pieces of shit. Fuck you. I swear, if I see a Baldur's Gate 3 comment, I'm immediately going to downvote it.
What's your YouTube channel?
Out of Order Show.
Dungeon Master over here.
Oh, fucking. I still have that word banned in my chat.
Do you really?
I think so.
That's funny.
But anyways, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Vic. It was a pleasure losing to you guys this year. The final score for y'all, it was 134 for me, Dan 139, and Vic 140. Won by 1 point. Almost would have just lost if that freaking Dragon Quest Monsters Dark Prince score didn't literally squeak it through like 2 weeks ago. Because it was at a question mark, and there was going to be a point of contention where I was like, do I have to make the call? And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make this call or not. But luckily we ended the season on no point of contention. But either way, thank you so much. Take care. And like always, be good to one another. And peace forever. Bye-bye.